and welcome to Apple Tree Cottage in the Scottish Borders. This is Tuesday the 22nd of April 2025 and it's lovely to see you all again. Now today I have a little of a great many, well perhaps not a great many, but quite a number to show you today. And I'd like to start with Blackbird Designs, Merrily Merrily We Welcome the Spring. And this is a sampler chart that I am alternating on a weekly basis with Come Into My Garden, also Blackbird Designs. I have completed all of the border, the basis of the border, and I usually, on a very large piece of work, like to do that because then I know I'm not going to have a problem with meeting up at the other end. And also it is quite a good idea to get the work located on the piece of fabric evenly. One tries to have a 2-inch border all the way around, but that's not always actually possible. It depends on the piece of linen fabric and the chart. Here we are with the chart, and if you haven't seen it before, you'll see that it is quite a busy design. There's a great deal going on here. Alma Allen of Blackbird Designs designed it. That's the original, and you can see that she has added some motifs of her own, the house and that big bird. The fabric is 36 count oaken by Picture This Plus. And it's a beautiful, beautiful selection of classic colour works, Gentle Arts sampler thread and Weeks Dye Works thread. Absolutely beautiful colours. And I think this is what attracted me to this, not only the title, but the actual colours of the threads. Now I have, having stitched the border, I then began some of the alphabet here. There are quite a number, I think there are 5 alphabets altogether, so if you love alphabets you will absolutely love this sampler. However, I thought, I think it was the bottom left with the blue bird that actually attracted me to it. So I scooted down to the bottom and I have actually finished that vase and just a little bit more of the filling of one of the flowers, and I have the bottom corner pretty well stitched. Now I have to say, and you probably picked this up from last episode and the one before, that with alternating it with Come Into My Garden, I much prefer Come Into My Garden for a number of reasons. And I struggled the week before last to keep going with this. And frankly, last week I almost thought, oh, I'm going to put it to the side. But I am so glad I didn't do that because I've started to really enjoy it. And I think I've begun to really enjoy it because of the result. The actual stitching I'm finding quite a challenge on this oaken. But the result is absolutely beautiful. It really is. It's just so beautiful. So beautiful. The threads seem to sink into the oaken in a way I haven't seen on other samplers that I've stitched so far. Having said that, I'm still very much at the beginning of sampler stitching. I'm still not very far up the mountain, I have to say. But I'm loving it. I'm finally loving it. So the lesson is persevere. Perseverance is, do you know, that's a word that doesn't often arise now in our modern vocabulary. perseverance, but my goodness, that is like diligent effort, perseverance and duty. You think all of these rather heavy 1950s concepts wouldn't help you, but they do. There's still that foundation of steady application, and of course, as we all know, samplers do require, and cross stitch requires steady application. Anything that's worth its salt does, of course. Now, a very busy week, other things. I had my daughter visiting, and of course we talk non-stop to catch up, but I have made 3 needle cases. If you follow me, you'll know I'm potty about needle cases. I stitch them up by hand extremely quickly. They're very simple. I do have one tutorial on how I make them, this particular design, but you'll see later in the episode that I have added 2, and I'm in the process of making a third new one that are slightly different to this one. But, you know, ring the changes, that's the thing. Now, some of you will be horrified. I learned to sew at school when I was very young. I was very fortunate in that. I came from a really traditional, not only Scottish background, but educational background, but also English, from London. So, and I moved a great deal. My father was medical, and he kept getting promoted, and every promotion the whole family would move, and so I was moving back and forward between Scotland, where I was born, and England, and I spent a substantial amount of my childhood in North London, and went to 3 different schools while I was there, and the middle school, which was Crouch End High School, was a little of the old-fashioned dame school type. Heath Robinson's niece was the headmistress, who was a very old Victorian lady. This is going back to the 1960s, early 1960s. And of course we learned a very old-fashioned sewing, and that's given me a lovely, and I hated it, by the way. Absolutely hated it. I hated that you pricked your finger and the cloth got smeared with blood, and it hurt. So sewing and I didn't join up into a delightful enterprise until rather later. Hand sewing to me was boring. It had a negative connotation in one way or another, in that it was not very bright girls who did the stitching, and the bright girls went on to be academic. Absolute nonsense, of course, but those were those days. So this idea that I'm coming to may, as I say, horrify some of you. It's my own innovation. I'm saying horrified because there may be a proper way of doing it, and if there is, I'm sorry, I don't know it. I'm learning as I go along, but I do find from a couple of other walks of life, including my training, that if you can be organized at the beginning, have the right tools, have as best quality you possibly can, but if you can be organized, then you're going to enjoy yourself far more, and you're going to end up with a better product at the end of the day. So I'm still working on this, and I may chuck out the idea, but this is where I am this week, 2025. Making just a very simple little needle case out of cloth, fat quarters, and then taking the chart and putting in the names on sticky tape, one-sided sticky tape, of the actual thread, buying enough needles, and as I say, a lot of people will be horrified at this idea because they're saying, my goodness, so many needles. I love needles. I love buying needles. And then each of the needles is that allotted thread, for that allotted thread. Because when I'm stitching, some charts, you may only have 3 stitches. and then you stop that thread. And I was finding at the beginning I had a great many threads. I thought, well, why don't I just plant the needle down against the appropriate label, and then pick it up again when I come round to that colour again. Now I've only, because it takes time to do the labels, I've only actually done, this is an experiment, I've only actually done it on one chart, which is Merrily Merrily. I'm liking it, I'm enjoying it. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it goes. So that's my number one for the week. And the next one was something that I had to apologise profusely for last week because I hit a technical hitch. I've now sorted it out. It's my design. I used to design charts, I think, before I moved house, so sort of 2018, 2019. And I had actually produced rather lovely ones, but it folded for one reason or another. It was probably too ambitious. However, I still have some design charts. I still have the designs, and I will gradually be introducing them back in and putting them for availability as PDF downloads on my Etsy shop. This is the latest design, which I designed for Christmas. I designed this for Christmas. No, I designed this for Easter. And it is based on, or it is the first verse of the King of Love, my shepherd is, whose goodness faileth never. I nothing lack if I am his, and he is mine forever. And it's really very simple. It's using DMC threads. Now this one here is actually stitched on 40 count, but the PDF download is written out, and the chart is written out for 36 count, because it's much easier to do a cross stitch or even a 10th stitch on 36 count. So there we are, that's a design. I may put this on my wall. As you can see, I popped it into a frame. I'm not sure. I will have to think about that. Have to think about whether I put it up on my sampler wall. Now, the next one is another blackbird design, which is really quite unusual, but it did keep jumping out at me, and I'm doing it with silks. My heart can rest. This is the original. It has a little flag on the house, and you can see it's faded in various areas. So Blackbird have made the pink much stronger again. 1842. I just love it. It was stitched by a girl in France, French girl. I think I love it because it's so odd. It's really odd. It's quirky. It's quirky. And so here we are. This is as far as I have reached this week. I'm using my own selection of silks, and I have put that selection of silk on my previous episode, which will be episode 18. This is episode 19, in the show notes. If you click more, then you get down to my choice of silks on this one. I started on another piece of linen. I didn't like it, so I've started again, and I'm really loving it. This is on R&R Reproduction 36 count Winter Brew. So my heart can rest. A really quite quirky one. It actually calls for 36 count Heartland, but I couldn't obtain that. And they advise Classic Colour Works and Weeks Dye Works. So there we are. My heart can rest. Just different, as I say, different. Good. I have been enjoying a chart by Shakespeare's Peddler, and I certainly will go back to Teresa Vinette for new charts. I think her choice is sophisticated and she's extremely knowledgeable, apart from being great fun and of course a cat lover. But the chart that I am working from her is called Anne Grant, and this is the first one that I chose to start working with silks. Now it's quite a big sampler, and it is quite sophisticated, and I think for that reason I've been working on blackbird designs, which are in a way rather more straightforward. And I think because it is sophisticated, and I backed off for a while. I've taken a long time to get here, to tell you the truth. I just didn't have the confidence, And I've started to get into my stride with it. And it's been a learning curve. It has been a learning curve. If you like, where we could broadly say, and I hope I'm not offending anybody, but where we could broadly say a great many of the blackbird designs are maybe easy and intermediate. I would say this is going on intermediate to difficult, if we want to start to put them into boxes, which we probably don't. But I just felt rather daunted by Anne Grant, 1829 by Shakespeare's Peddler for a while. Got into my stride now, started to relax over it. As people will know, I made a work bag for it. It took me a little while to gather the silk, because of course silks are comparatively more expensive, and also I had to go to America. This is one of the reasons that I first went to America to look for supplies, because I couldn't get this one in the UK. I tried to spread my purchases fairly through various suppliers. However, I went to 123 Stitch in the United States for the pink. It was the pink that actually attracted me, the pink border that attracted me. And the silk for this is the Thread Gatherer Silken Colours Camelot's Lady. Camelot's Lady, absolutely stunning colour. And as I'm stitching this, let me get it out for you. Where's it gone? I think I've got it here. As I'm stitching this, I feel Camelot's Lady is really appropriate. Now, I was born in Bearsden, which is North Glasgow, and I feel that the Glasgow rose was perhaps, looking back, to this type of motif, floral motif, if anyone knows the Glasgow rose, which became very famous. I'm loving this. I feel connected to this era. I feel connected to the dating of this type of motif. I feel almost like part of me has stitched this type of thing before. This is, I would say, my top favourite that I'm working on, and it's slow because, well, what did I do? I completed this week. Yes, last episode I was saying that the bee was too pale and that I would change the thread on it. I've changed my mind about that, because when I look at Teresa's charting, many of the letters are really faded, and I think that it's better to keep it to that, though I certainly could have changed it. But a watch point, as I say, when you're slightly underconfident about something, you can come at it with too much trepidation, and I really have sort of been too steady on this, because I didn't read Teresa's extremely useful notes for some reason or other. They're really useful. And so in her notes she mentions that the alphabet is in Algerian I. I think this is potentially a Scottish sampler, potentially, in that a great many of the Scottish samplers did complete their alphabets in Algerian I, and I love doing Algerian I. So there I was sitting this morning looking, I thought, oh, look at her notes, and there it was at the bottom, and there the alphabet is in Algerian I if you want. So I do want, yes, I most certainly want. However, the A and the B are in cross stitch, so I don't know. We'll go on. I think if I start Algerian I now, it's going to look weird, and if I do the rest of it in cross stitch, I'm just going to feel slightly disappointed with myself. Two smalls coming up next. Two smalls. I picked up and still doing my bento boxes, sushi boxes. I label them so that I know what I'm doing. And here are the threads for this. That's another little needle case that I made, I think earlier this year. It's DMC threads in a bento box, and they can stack. They're great, they're really great. Get them off Amazon for about anything between 14 and 20 pounds. So doable financially. You have to make choices, don't you? Am I going to buy threads? Am I going to buy a new chart? Or am I going to buy something that's going to help me? Now, Rose Cottage sampler pin keep kept jumping out at me. I think it was Lovely Nicole of Nicole Needleworks that was showing us this, and I just thought, no, I kept coming back to it. My one disappointment is that the photograph shows the linen as being a rather brownish tone, and the Confederate Grey by Wheat's Dye Works is a grey. So if I was ever to do it again or recommend to somebody else, I would point that out, because it does come out as rather colder. Coming out with the Confederate Grey is and the DMC, quite strong DMC colours, but I do like it. And I decided that if I didn't start at the foot of the chart, I'd never finish it. One of my strategies is to go to the most difficult thing first and get that done, and then I know that it will be done, whether it's cross stitching or other things. So you can see there's the ducks on the water, or the doves, and then this lovely house. It's really charming. And then up, I won't be doing dog. Well, I think there is a dog. I'm going to put in a cat. My cat so far this year has not caught any rabbits. I told him that he had got through. He's 4 now. He's got through his teenage years, and no more rabbits. We're not having any more rabbits in the house, thank you. So far, we're, as I say, April the 22nd, so fingers crossed we're not going to have any rabbits brought in as Easter presents. Anyway, that's by the by. So alphabet at the top, and I wanted to go with the flower vase and have it completed for this week, and I haven't. I've still got to keep going with the flowers. And work up gradually. It's really lovely. It's 8 inches square, so that is large for a pin keep. But it's just going to be lovely, maybe on my conservatory windowsill shelf, something like that. So that's a small, and then the other small I am really enjoying. Another blackbird design, of course. And it was nice for Easter because it's a basket one. Basket of cherries. This is 32 count cocoa by Weeks Dye Works. loving that 2/2, so it's a nice change, isn't it? 32 count 2/2 is a nice change. It's a very cheery, very cheerful design by Barb Adams, and we have the Gentle Art Sampler threads, which I am enjoying using. Let me do this first. Finished the bluebird, and I am planning to completely follow this design and not make any changes. I did make changes with the Sweet Birds Sing. I did make changes for that one, but I think I'm going to be faithful to this one. And this is a one that I've made a little needle case for. It's just so pretty, isn't it? That's just so pretty. A little bit of lace, a ribbon, mess in the middle because I haven't sorted the middle out yet. And my plan is to have, and I'm just about there with it, a needle case. Just put that there like that. A needle case for every sampler, just to be organized. I don't have a stitching room. I have a great many rooms, but I do not have one room dedicated to craft or stitching. But as my daughter said, well, Mummy, your whole house is, so I don't know what the problem is. I just wanted to have a room where family come to stay, so you can't have everything. Well, I do. I think I do have everything. But it does mean that if I'm moving around, I want to have little boxes. I have actually just put a photograph up on Instagram this morning that does show my actual working method, which is a big round circular tray. It looks wooden. It's not. It's plastic, and it's really, I don't know. It's about 2 feet in diameter, something like that. And I have my scissors on it, the box of threads, the chart, my little dish just for putting little endy threads there, and of course my box with the threads. Did I say that? So very organized. That means I can go and sit out in the garden. It's not been warm enough this week, but I'm hoping that I will be out in the garden getting suntanned. No, not getting suntanned. Out in the garden gardening this coming week. So what do we have now? Well, what we have next is a new acquisition, which I haven't started, and it is Thy Love More Strong, also by Blackbird Designs. It's quite a small sampler. It's very balanced, and I know I will enjoy doing this one. It's calling for Velt. And it is, this one is 40 count. They are calling for 36 count, but I had a piece of Velt, a 40 count, so I thought I would just go with the 40 count. I'll be stitching it in a good light, and I'm loving the colours on this. Again, it's a mix of Classic Colour Works, Gentle Arts, Sampler Threads, and Weeks Dye Works. The Velt is by Picture This Plus. So Thy Love More Strong. It's a booklet of 3 projects. You have a little pin keep there, and the top of a box there. So just a lovely feel to it, I think, and I will look forward to making a start on that. There are a great many starts, and I do think the difficulty with starting too many at the one time is that you end up doing an awful lot of borders, or I do. So I think with that one I may start rather more in the center. And then I'm also here we are with my pieces of another needle case. I just absolutely love this this fabric. It's inside out at the moment because this is how I make them, and I press the edges, and then I take the inner cotton, the plain white, out and turn it round, and then stitch the salvages together. And I've chosen a bit of green velvet and some lace for just making something pretty. Don't we all love pretty things? Well, some of us do. We don't all have to love pretty things. I love pretty things. I love pink, green, blue, and roses. And roses and forget-me-nots. I think we can never get past that combination. But that's my opinion. And here we have the absolutely beautiful selection of threads. And I will just put that against the velt to give us an idea. It's steely blue and this very subdued blue. It's just so beautiful, isn't it? Just love it. Just love stitching, love the threads, love getting the fabric, and on we go. Now sometimes I do like Weeks Dye Works, the looser. I don't know whether that was their older ones, but the looser ones I do like if I have enough coverage. There are some where I feel it's just too stiff. I know that Picture This Plus can sometimes feel rather stiff for my taste. But maybe you like them. I've never been able to obtain anything by Lakeside Linens. I've searched. If anybody knows where I could obtain it, where it would be available, then please put that in the comments. I'd love to have at least try a piece of Lakeside Linens because so many people rave about it. I have been Fibre with a Whim, and then I can also look forward to trying out Fox and Rabbit. I would be able to obtain that, but usually it's the chart I go for first, and then I will try and follow through with the called for linen. If not, then I do have some bits and pieces of linen from a few years ago. I'll see if they work. Otherwise, then I start to look around, and I do like the Zweigart, I have to say. I'd love to say that I always stitched on 40, but often it will be 36. I do like to finally accomplish something, and 40 I am definitely slower with. So there we are, and I think I just have a couple more here. Pulled out this one. That's a little needle case. My daughter in France is incredibly gifted. I'm sure I don't know, she'd probably say, oh, mummy. But she is phenomenally gifted as a needlewoman. And so I can relax because she's the brilliant one in the family when it comes to needlework. And so I can be just enjoying humble things, if you like. She is wonderful. She's wonderful anyway, both daughters are, but there we go. And she stitched me that, this is it, it's the sentiment, isn't it? The sentiment. I love using this because she did it for me and it's a gift. This is a kit. I saw the sampler and thought, oh, I have to do that. That's amazing. But I don't know where on earth I'd ever be able to obtain it. And lo and behold, I found that it was on the Oxford Charity website. Somebody had bought it. It's very I don't know, years ago. I think it's very tatty, but it was intact. They hadn't started it apart from very kindly sorting all the threads for me. So they're all sorted. I have put them on labels and put them on a loop though. I'm taking it that they're DMC, but I don't know. As I say, I've got this rather tatty, but I didn't care. I was just thrilled. I was amazed I'd found it. And this is stamped. This is stamped on a piece of linen, and some of you have commented to say that that you have it, or that you've stitched it. It's the Williamsburg by Elsa Williams, and it's called The Chase, and it's an exclusive manufacturer of Williamsburg needlework. And I just really wanted to stitch this for historical interest. And also because it is a slightly different technique. It is, as I say, that the fabric comes stamped. So you are actually putting the stitches over the lines of the stamping. I'll show you that in a minute, which it's a different technique. And I also chose it because I love this chase that's going on, and I'm very glad that the dog never ever catches up with the deer. And there are a variety of stitches in here. It's really, really delightful. So it is quite something to follow. Because the instructions are spread across, I think it's 3 pages, but just take your time and you get there. And here is the stamped material. It is very thick. I'm not quite sure what the count is, but it is very firm linen. It's really firm linen. And so I'm finding that I'm not using my normal cross stitch needle for this. I'm using just a normal sharp in order to be able to puncture the fabric itself. And again, that has a completely different feel to it. I started with 2 threads, which is what they call for, and I didn't like the 2 threads. I've started the 2 threads down here as well. I'll possibly use the 2 threads on the embroidery at the bottom, which I had done before. I think I showed you. I have done the deer. I've done the deer, and I've done 2 of the flowers, just to go straight in there. You can see the stamping on it. But for this past week, picking it up again, I undid some of it and went for a single thread, which is what I'm going to continue with because I prefer the look of that. So a little bit of undoing and starting again, and accomplishing one corner, which as I said at the beginning of the episode, it's a little of a great many things, and this is just a little bit. But I do feel just keeping going with a little bit is how you actually manage to achieve. And I know I will finish this. Well, yes, God willing, we'll finish. My aim is definitely to finish this. I'm keeping it in this one with the needle case in a drawer. In my sets of drawers, because it is quite bulky. And I think as I was stitching this and thinking about it, it's really important, I think, to have the right weight of linen for the final look of it, but also just your happiness with working with that particular fabric. And in another episode, I will be sharing with you my history of linen and linen weaving, which is very, very exciting. And I was saying that I only came to samplers relatively recently, but in fact my history with working with linen goes back I think, to 2 decades. 2 decades. That's the advantage of getting older. You've got an interesting history to tell people, but you're going to have to keep switching on and looking at me in order to start knowing some of a very interesting story. So finally, the last one that I've just started a little bit on is Charlotte Frost, 1846. So she actually is later. And it's stitched on 36 count corn tassel by Access Commodities. And one of the reasons I went and chose this is because I could actually obtain it. There wasn't a frustration over obtaining the right linen. I'm doing it on DMC, and Charlotte Frost is produced by the Charlotte House, by the Scarlet House. And I just get it here. I'll get it out for you. Beautiful chart. This is my first Scarlet House chart, and it's beautiful. It's so clear. She's put it into really large size of reproduction. It's on, I don't know how many pages it's on, but she's really given us a very clear chart to follow, which is lovely. And I saw this chart when Laura of Brenda and the Serial Stitcher, the Serial Starter, their lovely program, and Laura showed us this one, and I thought, no, I like that. I like that it's just a sedate feel to it. It's prim. It has pretty little flowers, very straightforward, not too many colours in it. Again, pink and green, and people will know I live in a red and green house. That's my backdrop. So this is certainly a good one to go on with. I just love it. There's a certain quietness to it and order. And the verse is, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And this is linking back, having finished my own design of the first verse of the 23rd Psalm. This is linking back to the 23rd Psalm. I have sheep in here, and I will be going on, I think I might have a sheep theme. I have another chart in my drawer that I will be going on to later in the year that also has sheep. So I can see myself having a shepherd and sheep corner somewhere in the house. And it is being stitched on a beautiful linen. This is just gorgeous. As you can see, I've just made a small start. Legacy linen, corn tassel. Corn tassel. It's just a lovely feel to it. I think this will be, 37 count. And I am finding, as I say, this is my sort of theme, I think, of this episode. Weight of linen. And here is the little needle case for Charlotte Frost. My little needle case for that one. They're rather dotty actually, but I'm enjoying that, and I'm enjoying being organised. So there we are. I think that is everything for this week, except to say that I have come across a couple of new people, Mrs. Holly Stitches and Textile Lust isn't new to me actually, but Textile Lust is someone I've begun from the beginning with both of these ladies, and will binge watch both of them all the way through. So they're my sort of discoveries of the week. And then there's also the proper stitcher. So that's 3 ladies, along with my favourites. Narissa really enjoys. I really enjoyed her latest episode, and Nicole and Saltbox Stitcher, and I'm really sorry if I haven't mentioned you. Please don't be hurt. If you really want to mention, just pop your name down in the comments, and I'll certainly do that. Narissa mentioned me, and it really did help get me to my 1,000 subscribers, which is so terribly important. And thank you for all the new people who have subscribed. Thank you so much for everyone who is returning, and I'm just thrilled that I'm able to give a little bit, and giving and taking, sharing and enjoying stitching with you. And so have a very good week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.